How is it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Diecast of the Week, and let's jump right into it. So here's the hood of the next car we're going to talk about. It is Austin Dillon's 2017 Dow Chevrolet. So Austin Dillon's Dow Chevrolet. Dow is a sponsor on the car for, I believe this is the 4th season in a row. And now let's take a look at it. So quick little tour of the car here. We got a black top here with Dow, as you see on the front there. You're going to see plenty of Dow, by the way. So then you got black, and then you got this gradient thing where it goes from black to gray to white. Then you see a small Dow logo here. I'm going to talk more about that later. AAA, American Ethanol right here. On the deck lid, you got Dow right there. Then you got Dow, and you got some words there. The human element at work, those are what the white words say here on the bottom. And then it's polar, pretty much the same thing here on the side. Alright, so now let's talk about this car a little more in depth. So, what is up with this car? First of all, of course, let's talk about the colors. The placement of the colors is pretty nice. It is not your run-of-the-mill black car, which is totally fine. Now, I've said before, black doesn't necessarily work, but I'll talk about that later. But what's nice is, like, instead of it being all black, or like what the previous car was like, where it was like black with white stripes, you got this thing going where it's like you got black, and then you get some gray here, and then some white, then you got a white top here, and then you got the black in the back, and then you got plenty of red too, because the Dow logo helps with that, and then you get this new little flame thing here. Now in terms of color, that's great, because red is definitely more prevalent in this car, and I do appreciate that. The first problem though I have of this car is the Dow logo though. And my biggest problem is here on the side. See how tiny the Dow logo is? Because of how tiny it is, there's this whole entire blank spot right here. And so my question with this is why? Why was it necessary to have that logo be so small? Why couldn't they either like do a special design where you could have like 3 Dow logos here across the side just so that the whole place is covered? But again, you got this like blank space. Either that or maybe even like increase the size of the Dow logo so that it does cover up the entire side. My problem was the reason I'm being so small is because you have this awkward space right here. Now sure, like other companies and decals want to be on here, but I don't think that's possible because this is Dow's car. And honestly, that's a big problem, I think. And then also too, Dow is the same exact, it's the same exact Dow logo all across the entire car. Like, nothing has changed of the logo whatsoever. Now, what was nice with Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car that I did in the previous episode was that Mountain Dew was able to change their logo slightly so that it does fit on specific parts of the car. Not with Austin Dillon. I'm pretty sure Dow wanted the entire logo to fit on the car because they want to make sure they want it to fit properly. I get that, but do I hate that? Yes, I do. Now, one thing I mentioned before that I don't mind, though, is the color gradient, which is right here, because it goes from black to gray to white. I do appreciate that, and the reason why I do is just because it is a different design. Because instead of doing like a simple stripe logo, or heck, even having it all black, that wouldn't that just be not creative, but you would also be ripping off of Dale Earnhardt as well. So again, I do appreciate that gradient. Now, the other thing I want to talk about here is the red here on the side. Because you see it's like a flame, or I'm going to call it a flame for right now. Because you have this little design going here. But the problem I have with it is that it's so tiny, and it just doesn't go anywhere. Because it's like it starts, but then it's like extinguished because it's like the company wants to go with this gradient logo right here. And so you got to ask yourself, like, why? Like, what's the point? And so another big problem I have of this car too is that you have like conflicting ideas going on. Because the first idea you have is the original car, which was from 2014 to 2016, where it's like you had the white top, and then it had the design, I'll throw the image up here somewhere, where it's like you have white and then black and then white and then black. I feel like they were just copying off of that on the top. But then they want to do something new, so they went with this color or gradient scheme that goes from black to gray to white. That's another thing. But then a third thing is this flame thing. I really wish they could have gone farther with this flame thing because it looks pretty, but it's so tiny. And I wish they could have gone more with that. And yeah, I do see this red side skirt here, But again, it does not go off of what the flame has going right there. So that is my biggest problem with the car, is that this car has plenty of potential to look cool, but because of the conflicting ideas, it just doesn't work for me. So because of that, I'm going to give Austin Dillon's 2017 Dow Chevrolet 2 stars. Now again, this is all opinion based, that's what I think, and I bet someone out there thinks that this is at least an improvement from Austin Dillon's cars from the previous years. But as I said before, I just don't buy it. So now the next car I want to talk about, and I feel like it makes sense to do this car now. It is Dale Earnhardt's 1999 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Winter Circle made this car, and I want to say I got this from Walmart. But the thing is, I did get this car in 1999, so my memory is a little blurred at the moment. So let's talk about this car. As you can see, it is mostly black. I'm going to talk about that. GM Goodwrench is there on the top. Goodwrench big here on the side. The famous 3, which is where that number began. Goodwrench, GM Goodwrench on top. You got a red interior here, which is kind of cool actually. And then the stripe on the bottom. Okay, so I mentioned in a previous episode, and I believe it was the Casey Kane episode, where I said that black isn't good. But I also said that the main car that works with black is Dale Earnhardt. And the reason why was because he created black and he made black look good. Please don't take that out of context. So what's great about this car is, yes, it is black, but what's really cool is that the decals on the side here, there's so much white here that it does make the car its own identity. Because unlike the other car where Dow was so tiny, Goodwrench was able to cover this whole space, so you don't have that awkward spacing here on the side. And so that was my next point, is the decal spacing. Because there's enough decals to go around here on the side of the car so that you don't have that random just blank space somewhere. And so because of that, I absolutely appreciate that. And what's nicer is all the decals are white, because instead of having like an array of colors, pretty much all decals, including on the hood here, their main color is white. And since that white is added on, the white makes it add more and makes the car have that identity in which I strive for. And then the final thing I want to talk about on this car is the 3 font. Absolutely unique. I love how Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt, they were able to have this unique 3 font that has stuck ever since. I don't know what the name of the font is that is on the 3. I think it's like Aardvark or something like that. But it is completely unique, completely its own. And as an artist, that's what I strive for, is for every car to have a unique identity and it doesn't copy or mock off of someone else. So all in all, very pretty car. The man in black definitely deserves to have that black design. And so Dale Earnhardt's 1999 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet gets 5 stars. Alright, so to wrap this video up, I'll show you the differences and similarities between these two cars. Gen 6, Gen 4. And it's very interesting how time has changed on these cars. What is nice is that each car does have red, white, and black still. That is nice that this car does play a little homage to this car. Now there is a whole bunch of debate on whether 3 should have come back or not. My opinion on that is that a number doesn't make a driver. Now sure, Dale Earnhardt made 3 famous, but I don't think any number should be quote unquote retired. Now is it weird that Richard Childress' grandson has 3? Yes, but you also need to realize that Richard Childress had 3 before Dale Earnhardt really took over the 3 number. So that's my take on that. And I'll show you a quick little compare and contrast here of the 2 cars. As you see, red is more prevalent on the 3. But then you got the red interior here on the 3, which is really cool, while you have the white interior on there. And then the big thing, as I just want to quickly point out, look at all the empty space here on the 3 versus all the filled space here. And you can make the excuse that less companies are interested in NASCAR, sure, but the companies that are on Austin Dillon's car, you could make them bigger, or you could duplicate the logo or something so that you don't have that awkward space right there. So that is all I have to say of these two cars. Let me know what you guys think of these cars in the comment section down below. And of course, if you guys have any suggestions on what cars you want to see next, please let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to look out for the diecast of the week every Wednesday, Griff Talks every Friday, and other Inner 2003 projects down the road. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.